Okay, so today I want to show you how to create a simple stylized crate using Maya. So let's go ahead and get started. So go to Create, Polygon Primitives, Cube. So with the cube selected, I'm going to increase the size to, let's do 10. And now, hold down right click, Faces, select all the faces, and now go to Edit Mesh, and extrude, and with these options here, make sure you under keeps faces together, turn that off. Now I'm going to click here on one of the cubes for scale, and then use the one in the middle, then just scale that guy down a little bit like that. Now I'm going to press G so I can extrude one more time, and then I'm going to use the blue arrow and then move that in a little bit. I'm going to press the cube here and scale that just a little bit, something like that. Maybe I'll use the blue arrow and move that out just a little bit more. Okay, there we go. So press Q to exit, and there we have it. That's going to be our crate, our wooden crate. But first we want to make UVs for this guy, so let's do that. So click here, oops, undo that. So for UVs, open this window right here. That opens our UV editor, and with that selected, I'm going to face mode. And click on this icon right here so that Maya creates automatic UVs for this guy. Click on the checker pattern here so that we can see that if the pattern looks like cubes in the model, that means that our UVs are pretty good. So deselect that. And finally, I'm going to select all the UVs. Make sure you go hold down right click, go to UVs in the UV window, and then under here, under the arrange in layout, go to layout, and there we go. This should be good. Actually, I'm going to go right click and use UV shell, then use the W key and move these guys just slightly up and down. I'm going to select all these guys and scale, press R to scale. Once again, UV shell, top, W, same with the bottom, then just move these guys down. Okay, so that is it for our UVs. So now that our model is UV'd and everything, we can export it and make our high poly mesh in ZBrush. So let's just do that. First, I want to clean my history and I'm going to freeze my transformations. So go to modify, freeze transformations, and then go to edit, delete all by type history. And we are going to name our cube Stylized underscore crate, enter. I'm going to copy that so that I can export it, and we're going to file, export selection, export obj, and then just pick an area, a folder where you want to save it, and just save it as a stylized crate. So now we're going to go ahead and open ZBrush. So I'm using ZBrush 4R7, but if you're using any other version, it should be almost the same. So I'm going to close my lightbox, go to import. Actually, before I do that, I want to increase the size of this window. So go to document, and then just click on new document, and that's going to increase the size. Now import, and then choose your mesh. So once that's in, you drag once, and then click on edit. And now we can look around our cube. We're going to press P for perspective, or you can click over here to enable that. And I'm also going to change my material that I'm looking through. So let's choose this one. Okay, and now go to geometry so that we can increase the geometry that we're working with. If you click on divide, you can see that it messes up your cube, so undo that, Ctrl Z. I'm going to deselect the smooth and divide it a few times. 1, 2, 3, let's do 4, and now enable that one more time. So yeah, that's good. Just divide it up to 3 million polygons. I think that should be enough. So with that, now we want to start sculpting it. For this video, you're going to need to download the Orbs Curve pack. There's going to be a link in the video description. These are really good, really awesome brushes that are pretty good for stylization of sculpting. So I'm going to use those. So when you download those, what you want to do is you want to save them in your brush folder where you have ZBrush installed, and just make a folder stylized brushes and just place all those there. So I'm going to use the Orbs Curve. I'm also going to be using the let's use this one, the Orbs Flatten Edge, and then finally let's use the Orbs Curve and the slash, this one. So let's start with the Orbs. Actually, let's start with the trim dynamic. So I'm going to press B and look for trim dynamic, just down here. Then let's use that. By the way, I'm using a tablet for this, just because using the mouse for this kind of thing is really difficult. And one more thing I'm going to do, I'm going to enable symmetry for this, just to make it easier and faster. I'm going to press X, and as you can see, it's already symmetrized. And I'm going to go to transform and enable symmetry on the Y as well, so that whatever I do on the top happens on the bottom and on the left. Let's do it on the also on the Z axis, so that it's symmetry everywhere. So let's start by just softening the edges just a little bit. Something like that. So I'm using the trim dynamic, and I'm just softening or giving a little bevel to the edge of our crate here. I'm going to press X to disable symmetry, then just give some variation to some of the areas. So you can see using this brush helps with just breaking up the shapes here. Okay, so now let's create the planks. So I'm going to press B and use the Orbs Curve. Again, make sure you download that from the link below. So basically, what this does is just kind of makes lines, and we wanna let's enable symmetry. Press X. Basically, we want to break it down so that this is our planks, our wooden kind of planks that make up the crate. So yeah, as you can see, using this brush makes it insanely easy to create a stylized look. Okay, and now what I'll do is I'm going to do the planks here and increase my size just a little bit. And then on this one I'm going the other way, so that we have one that's going up and then goes down. Then for this one I'm going to disable my symmetry, so press X and then just kind of do it sideways like this. And the same for the bottom. And now what you want to do is you want to keep adding some of the kind of break up the symmetry that we created as we were sculpting when we had symmetry enabled. So we just want to break up the patterns here. Also have different size of the lines here going. And I try to make it so that as the lines get closer to the edge here, that they're a lot stronger. So there we go. So again, this is made super easy by the fact that we're using these brushes. So if you really like the brushes, you should probably check out the person who made them. I think you can also donate to him as well if you really. I find this to be super helpful for Stylized. You can also kind of break up the the straight lines. Just have some that go sideways here. So like that. So basically that's what I'll be doing here. So I'm just gonna speed this up and kind of time lapse it. Okay, so I'm pretty much done just doing all the lines for my wooden parts. So I'm going to switch to the Orbs Curve. So this one's almost the same as the Orbs Crack, but the difference is that it creates kind of like a harsh, kind of line, as you can see here. So I don't think I'm going to end up using it too much. Just kind of here on the edges where my lines from the Orbs Curve kind of connect, just to create a nicer kind of transition. So don't use that one too much. So anyway, let's move on and just kind of add more variation. So go to B and then now choose the slash one. What this one does is gives you some nice kind of like that, just to add some variation. And don't add that everywhere, just in a few areas. Sometimes it looks good on the edges. So something like that. Don't overdo it with this guy, I will say. I'll just keep it simple. Okay, so let's keep it that way. So yeah, that's pretty much our high poly now. And if you want to preview it with different materials, I like to preview it with that one and then the this one, the matte cap white cavity. I think this one's a good one too, just to see what your lines look like. So yeah, so that's it for our high poly. So now we're ready to export this so that we can bake it onto our low poly. Oh, actually, one last thing. I want to add some knobs on it, like nails or something. So let's press B, go to Insert, and let's do, how about the cylinder? Mesh. Okay, we have to delete our subdivisions under Geo, delete lower. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think that looks good? Let's try a different one. Insert. There's different ones. Let's see a sphere. No, that doesn't look right. Maybe there's like a nail here somewhere. I'll just use that cylinder for now. And I'm not gonna use it everywhere, I'm just gonna place it in some of the areas here. Just so that it looks like our planks have been put together with nails. So maybe something like that. Maybe there's like one that's like here on the side. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Okay, so now we can export our model. So let's go to export and just export it as the same name and just put high and export that. Okay, so now I'm back in Maya because I want to re-export my low poly as an FBX. But before we export, we have to do a few things with our normals in our low poly. So to fix the normals so that they're ready to bake on our high poly. So basically, let me show you something. So basically, our UVs are set up this way, where all these are separated under the by the 90 degrees angles right here. So our normals on those should be hardened, which they are, but the normals on these guys should be softened, because those are part of the same UV shell. I don't know if that makes sense, but I hope it does. But anyway, so what we want to do is we want to soften the edges on the on these guys. And I believe Maya 2018 comes with a tool to do that automatically. So under Mesh Display, Soften Hardened Edges, I believe. If you click on that, that automatically does it for you. Where basically what it does is it softens the edges based on UV shells. So if our UVs are cut here along this line, so those are hard, but these areas are one UV shell, so they're soft. So that's basically what happens, and with that Maya tool it does it automatically. If you're using an older version of Maya, what you have to do is go to Edge, then select these guys that need to be softened, and then go to Mesh Display and then soften the edge. So you have to do that manually. Okay, so now let's export this guy as an FBX file, because the FBX file comes with the normals. So I'm gonna name it the same, but I'm going to change to FBX, and then make sure that your settings are like these under geometry, smoothing groups and tangents and binormals, and then export that. So good. So now we're going to texture this using Substance Painter, so I'll show you that. Okay, so in Substance Painter, by the way, if you need the link, I'll leave the link in the description so you can get the 30-day trial for free. Okay, so in Substance Painter, what you want to do is you want to go to File, New, and then here select your mesh. Then here you can also choose the size of the texture. In this case, 1024 is fine. Make sure the normal map is set to DirectX. Then create. And here's the model. So now, what you want to do is you want to bake our maps. So under your texture settings, you want to go under Bake Textures, and then here deselect ID, and then all these guys selected, and then set our output to 1024. So basically we're going to be baking all our maps, our normal map, roll space normal, ambient occlusion, etc. Then click here for your high definition mesh, your high poly that we exported from ZBrush. Then set the anti-alias to 4x4, and I think that's all we need for our meshes here. So I'm going to deselect all these guys actually, and just bake the normal map just to make sure that it looks fine, and if that looks good when we bake it, then we can go ahead and bake the other ones. So let's do that. Let's bake that. Okay, so once that's done, so there we go, we have our high poly, and I think that looks fine, although I think the nails didn't really come out looking too good. I think those kind of disappear. Yeah, those guys are kind of disappearing a little bit. So let's try again. Let's do a bake, and this time let's increase our max frontal to like 0.3 or 4, 0.04. Let's try that again. And now that, yeah, that looks good. Now we can see the knobs on top. So yeah, that's cool. So now that we know that our bake comes out looking good, we can bake the remaining textures. So all these guys, and just bake that. So bake. Okay, so now we have all our maps baked. So as you can see here, and if you press the B key, you can cycle through all these guys. There's our curvature, there's our position, thickness. Okay, so now let's press M to go back to our normal view here. So now we can just texture this guy. So let's do that. Let's what we can do, so we could try to use some of the materials in Substance Painter. It comes with some materials here. So like we could try, let's do the skin, and then it looks like this. Obviously this is a wooden plank, so that's not necessarily what we want. So this one looks pretty good. Oh, but this one's not, doesn't come with substance. This is one that I made myself. And I think basically what I did with this guy, let's show you. It's just a bunch of layers basically, and a mask on the curvature. So yeah, I think we should use this one. I think this one's pretty good. Actually, let me use on my library of things. So I do have a stylized wood that I made a while back. This one's semi-decent. It's not the best. I think I like the other one better. Yeah, I think I like this one. I'll just have to change my colors here. To be more like wood. Yeah, I think I like this one better. So I'm going to let you guys download this specific smart material from Substance. I'm going to call it something else. I think I'm calling it Bone Stylized in my video here, but I'm going to save this one as a new smart material that you guys can download and just apply it to your model. So that's basically what I'll be doing. So basically it's a normal, this is just a flat color on it, and then this is a mask for the edges of this guy. I'm actually going to remove that one. So it's a mask for the edges. Okay, so what I'll do is I'm going to maybe decrease the saturation on this guy just a little bit more. Then on this guy, and then I have my cavities. Now I have, let's see what this is. I think I'm using this for color variation. And a baked lighting on it. So I think now it looks a little too desaturated, so probably increase the saturation on this guy. So again guys, I'm going to provide the model for you. I mean not the model, but I'm going to provide the smart material for this. Okay, so and then I'm going to give it a metal material. So I'm going to make a fill layer. This is going to be my metal. So metal on. Then I'm going to give it a black mask, and with that one selected, you want to paint the nails here. So when you download the smart material from my website, make sure that I'm going to name this metal. Make sure that you paint a mask on that metal material so that you can apply on the on your nails here. So okay, so yeah, that's basically it, guys. This is how you can create a really quick and simple crate using Maya, ZBrush, and then Substance Painter. I'm going to provide this smart material in the description below, and with instructions on how to install. It's going to be a README file in there, the text file that you can use just to see how to install the how to import the smart material. Basically, you just go to File and then Import Resources and import that smart material, and then just apply it on top of your layers, and then you can see, you'll be able to see what all these layers do once you apply it on your model. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. And if you need to export your textures, you can just go to do a right click and then export textures, and then just export them wherever you want to export the textures to. So yeah, guys, so basically this is how you make a crate in Maya, ZBrush, and then Substance Painter. So yeah, if you liked the video, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe.